this place is not, this is not a Rise Television or BBC Hausa service. So I would like a situation where you speak. If Senator Ningi wants to say something, I will grant him the opportunity.
I want to invoke Order 95 Rule 4C. And Order 95 Rule 4C unequivocally states that the powers of the Committee on Petition, Ethics and Privileges of the Senate is to investigate misconduct of senators where there is alleged misconduct of senators where there is. So I want to invoke Order 95 Rule 4C for it to be referred to the Ethics and Privileges Committee for investigation and report to the Senate.
I come under Order 9 and 10 that my privilege has been breached. And I focus on that particular area that I believe affects me and not on the entire interview that was granted. And it becomes necessary, aftermath of the various interviews and headlines of various social media, newspapers that have come forth as a result of this singular interview. And it is on that premise that I've decided to approach these chambers to seek for protection and also to put up a motion before the Nigerian Senate to know the nitty-gritty of what has been said as contained in this particular interview. Urgent need to address the false allegation against the Senate and the presidency on the 2024 Appropriation Act by Senator Abdul Ningi, representing Bauchi Central. The motion is sponsored by me, Adeola Olamilekon. The Senate notes that following the presentation of the 2024 Appropriation Bill of 27.503 by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to the joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Representatives on Wednesday, the 29th of November, 2023. And following the debate of the general principle of the bill, at the second reading from Thursday, the 30th November to Friday, 1st December 2023, the bill was committed to the Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action, and in which Senator Abdul Ningi is a member of the committee. Also note that to attain the January-December budget cycle, the subcommittee submitted the harmonized report to the Committee of Appropriation, and the report of the Committee on Appropriation submitted to the Senate and was unanimously passed on Saturday, the 30th of December 2023, and a budget of 28.77 trillion was assented to by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces on 1st of January 2024, as shown below. Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, before I go further, the document we have here, the two documents we have here was shared to the 109 Senator of the Senate. Contained in this document, under the volume 1, paragraph 2, 3, and 4, is the breakdown of the 28.77 trillion budget that was passed. And from paragraph 7-8 are the breakdown of the budget, which we call the budget details of the entire MDAs. And when you add this figure together, as contained in this document for the entire MDAs, it comes to 25.4 trillion naira. Sir, there are agencies of the government whose budgets and their details are not contained in these two documents because they are statutory agencies and their money are on first line charge. Agencies such as 1, the judiciary. The judiciary budget details is not contained in this document. 2, the National Assembly. The National Assembly budget details is not contained in this document. 3, INEC. The INEC budget details is not contained in this document. 4, you beg, the universal basic education. The universal basic education budget details is not contained in this document. 6, third fund. The third fund recurrent and capital is not details is not contained in this budget. 7, the Northeast Development Commission. The breakdown of the Northeast Development Commission details is not contained in this budget. 8, the NDDC. The NDDC budget details is not contained in this document. 9, the GOEs, which is the government-owned enterprise, whose expenditure stood at 1,060 billion naira. Their details is not contained in this document. When you add all of that together, it gives you 3.221 trillion naira. And when you add it to the 25.4, it gives you 28.77 trillion naira. And it's no new thing. I have here a copy of the last 3 budget that was passed: 2021, 2022, 2023. All the details of these agencies I've mentioned are not contained in this document. So for my brother who have put up a consultant to look into this budget and have reported that 25 trillion was approved by the Senate, it's not been fair to the Senate. And I want to say that despite the fact an overture made to the Senate President and complained bitterly about this, and the Senate President requested that let me be furnished with the details and we look into it and necessary action will be taken, we refused. Or instead of doing that, we went to the press and addressed the press. And as at yesterday, my brother Senator Abdul Ningi still insists that he stood by his 3.7 trillion that has been missing within the 2024 appropriation bill. Sir, attached herewith in this document are item and the list of those documents that are contained in the budget and those that are not contained in the budget that made up the 28.77 trillion. Aware that the additional increase of 1.2 trillion to that was presented by the President came during the appropriation process through the additional funding request and some item of expenditure to the committee. Some item of expenditure to the committee, they were not included in the bill as submitted by the President. We are meant to address additional funding for judiciary, agriculture, food security, works, science and technology, education, water resources, National Assembly, health, national homegrown school feeding program, and please see attached below as I presented. Also aware that the additional source of funding for the increase came from the benchmark of naira to $1 from 750 to 800 naira, and the increase in government-owned enterprises revenue and other sources. Alarm that on Saturday, the 9th March 2023, Senator Abdul Ningi, the PDP Bauchi Central, claiming to speak on behalf of the Northern Senator Forum, granted an interview to BBC News Hausa service, where he made false and grave allegations against the executive, the President of the Senate, and the Senate, whereby he alleged that 2024 Appropriation Act passed by the National Assembly and being implemented by the executive is 25 trillion instead of 28.77 trillion, indicating a padding of 3 trillion naira. On the basis of this falsehood, Senator Ningi claimed that there is a budget done underground, meaning that the federal government is operating 2 national budgets. Further alarm that Senator Sulaiman Kawu, NNPP Kano South, a member of the Northern Senator Forum, in particular the spokesperson Forum, posted the audio copy of the interview. See attached notarized English language translation on Senator's exclusive social media platform, purporting to support its content and further spread the false allegation, which immediately found its way into numerous online media outlets and mainstream print and electronic media, with such headline like Northern Senator alleged 3 trillion pardon, exclusive Northern Senator move against Akpabio over alleged 4 trillion budget pardon, and other similar derogatory headline. Disturbed that this false allegation, including that of 2024 appropriation budget being against the North, has since generated debate in the media and general public, with aspersion on all senators of the Senate and members of the National Assembly. Accordingly resolved: 1. Pursuant to Order 1B of the Senate Standing Rule 2023 as amended, allow the immediate deliberation of this matter and take appropriate action deemed fit in the overriding public interest as a matter of urgent importance to prevent further breakdown of law and order. 2, take further necessary steps to correct the wrong impression in the public domain of 2024 appropriation budget created by the BBC interview and other national social media houses and social media platforms by Senator Abdul Ningi and amplified by Senator Sulaiman Abdulrahman Kau through his Facebook account and other social media platforms.
We have a situation where we should actually be the stabilizers of the National Assembly. But I think sometimes in our efforts to go after certain individuals and to go after certain goals and to go after certain personal issues, we tend to go overboard. I think you've thrown more light, Senator Joel, on what was posted by Senator Kawu. I think that is where they picked most of the headlines from. Budget padding. Akwabio, 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 Akwabio. I don't think anybody ever mentioned Tajuddin Abbas, Tajuddin Abbas, Tajuddin Abbas, because it takes both the Senate and the House of Representatives to make a budget. The executive submits it to us, and then we work on it, and we even worked on it together. All the committees here invited their DGs, the ministers, and they appeared before them. All their MDs, you appeared before them before you finally, when in fact to speed up the process, we made sure that we had a joint meeting of the House of Representatives and the Senate when you were meeting with the heads of your various agencies and ministries before finally going to defend your proposals before the appropriation committee, which was also a joint sitting of appropriation committee of the House of Reps and the Senate. So I think what is out there from United States of America to Canada, to this, to that, as a result of the issue generated. In fact, I've even seen a response from the presidency attempting to even defend the Senate, that in their assessment, there was no budget padding by the Senate. But I've seen Premium Times also reporting that this is the highest budget padding in the history of Nigeria since 1960. That, yes. So it's not for me, it's for you to discuss. I want to state clearly that I am an unbiased umpire. I have no voice, I have no say. The decision is yours.
Mr. President, I come under this order because fair hearing is a fundamental human right enshrined in our Constitution. Allegations have been made against Senator Abdul Ningi. I think it's only fair for us to give him time or to give him chance to defend himself before this August budget.
I want to do it now and here. And I have the documents. I have the documents to back any claim. I want to be given the opportunity to defend myself.
You are not recognized. Sit down, you are not recognized.
Here.
Mr. President, I haven't finished. I also have a point of order raised by Senate leader.
Distinguished Senator Alero, we give you respect, not just as a ranking senator, but as an elder statesman. So if you stopped talking while you have the floor, and then you allow Senator Ningi to jump up and start shouting, that's not the behavior of the Senate. This is not this is not a Rise Television or BBC Hausa service. So I would like a situation where you speak. If Senator Ningi wants to say something, I will grant him the opportunity. And he will say something, but we must conduct ourselves with decorum and respect for one another, and particularly respect for this institution. So if you are through, and any other person wants to talk, the person will raise his hand, I will recognize you. You can go.
My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central of Bauchi State, and of course, a member of the Appropriation Committee of the Senate. Mr. President, from the onset, let me concur to about 80% of the translation read out by Senator Yai. I think they have done a fair job, except on some issues that they could not understand. First, I have never said somebody was blinded. Secondly, I have never said the budget was funded. Mr. Chairman, the beginning of this brouhaha started with this text, and by your leave, I will read. For the first time in Nigerian history today, we are operating two different budgets. One budget approved by the National Assembly, signed by President Bola Tinubu, and one signed and one implemented by the presidency. The one approved by us is 25 trillion, while the one operating by the government is 28 trillion. Apparently, we discovered 3 trillion was inserted into the budget without location. This is the highest budget pattern happening in Nigeria. History under Senator Akpabio, taking place under the watchful eyes of Senator Akpabio. We resolve as people representing to see Bola Ahmed Tinubu on this issue with facts and figures, to ask him if he's aware with this embarrassment or not. Then from there, we will take action. We will take action. Let Nigerians be patient with us. This is a national issue. It affects Nigeria, irrespective of party, tribe, or religion. And Senator Abdul Ningi, Chairman, Northern Senators Forum, is purported to be the author of this document, of this. Let me, for the avoidance of doubt, I have never issued out a statement of this nature to anybody, anywhere, and anytime. And I want members of this Senate to record it. This is a fake contribution that was forwarded. I do not know the author of this. Having listened to the House of Virgin read out by Senator Yai, have you discovered any of this proposition? No. You have discovered one issue that pertains to the budget, and that is the issue of 28 trillion versus 25 trillion. I have said that. And I said, if you are listening to him clearly, that we had passed a budget of 28 trillion, and we have discovered location. That's what I said. Please. Can you listen to me? And I said, In between the 28 point something trillion and the 25 trillion, we have discovered that there is no nexus. There is no nexus. Nexus means there is no amount of money to allocation. There is no amount of money to allocation. And I said, work is in progress. Mr. Chairman, you recalled last Tuesday, myself and Kau saw you up there, and that we wanted to have an audience with you. And you gave us the grace to see you. We wanted Wednesday, you said no Thursday. And we met. The National Assembly, the Northern Senators Forum met on a Tuesday with a copy of our findings, which is here before us. And the only person who has the copy is myself. When we met as a forum, nobody, no one has seen what is in these copies. What we did, we read out what was discovered and which we felt was disturbing. Subsequently, therefore, we made a visit to your place. Even as we visited your place, we gave you a summary of what you think happened. And we told you we are almost 80% completion. I tried to run down some of the figures to you, and you listen attentively. At the end of the proceedings, you also said, part of the problem we have is the way the budget was brought, and there was no time for the full rigors of budgetary provision. We said we can understand that. However, I told you, Mr. President, that these two copies with me, we have about 21 additional copies that will make it to you. And I told Bino Siaro and Kau that on a Monday, the leadership of the forum will take the complete copies of our findings to you. On a Friday, Mr. President, my attention was called to this particular forward submission. And we chatted. Myself, Senator Dab, Senator Karimi, Senator Medoki. And they showed their anger about this particular statement. And I said, listen to the Hausa Virgin. In the Hausa Virgin, did you hear me mention Apagio's name? Did you hear me mention Padin? Even the one that was read out, there was no. So I went to Sokoto and quickly came back to Abuja. As I was arriving in Abuja, here you have a presidential spokesman response. Not on the interview I granted, but on this particular version that I said the president is implementing budget. That I said the president does not like the nurse. That I said the president does not care about the nurse. And therefore, because of the filthy nature that the national media took it, I rushed this assembly and countered with documentary evidence what was said here and what I said. Mr. President, if you had listened, all your agents have listened to the Arise interview and the Correspondence Chapel interview, I said categorically, the President's powers stopped as a proposer, as he proposed the budget. And I said, there is no way the National Assembly will add anything on the budget and it becomes padding. The tapes are there. I said the National Assemblies have powers, and you cannot call that powers padding. And I said I'm very grateful to the presidential spokesman who, encountering me, said the National Assembly added 1.27 trillion. And I was very clear. I was not aware of the addition. I was not even aware, as I'm seated here, of the full budget of the National Assembly. Mr. President, please, can you allow me to, Mr. President, perusing through the budget, first, we discover humongous anomalies of repetition. We discovered some senatorial districts in this particular document. Some senatorial districts have up to 120 billion. And my senatorial district has just 2 billion. Mr. President, yes. Mr. President, in this budget that Yari presented to you, I have facts, constituency by constituency. Some 120 billion, some 50 billion, some 30 billion. Mr. President, some have less than 1 billion. Mr. President, as I speak to you, Mr. President, as I speak to you, I do not know your take-home pay. You know my own. I do not know the take-home pays of any of the principal officers. Mr. President, as I speak, I know within the budgetary provisions, you made available funds for purchase of cars. Mr. President, I don't know how much was spent on your cars and the other principal officers. I know how much was spent on individuals, senators' cars. And as I speak to you here, standing, people are calling me names. I do not receive a single car. All within the budget provisions, Mr. Chairman. All within the budget provisions. I have as a matter of fact, I have 5 aides, just like every member of the House of Representatives has 5. Mr. President, I do not know the number of your aides. I do not know the number of the aides of the Deputy Senate President. You allow me to speculate. And therefore, everything that is in the budget is my concern.
From the issues on the floor, and you tended to bundle a lot of issues together. And Distinguished colleagues, may I just inform you that distinguished Senator Ningi and distinguished Senator Ismail Akawu requested a meeting with me and Northern senators, that they were going to meet with me and 38 others. And at that meeting, I may have to report to you that even Senator Tambuwa was there, Senator Sani Musa was there, and a lot of other senators, including Senator Bamoro, and many other Northern senators were there. And he told me that he had paid a consultant 30 million to unbundle the budget, and he also made some of the allusions here that what was passed by the National Assembly was 25 trillion, but what is being operated by the presidency was 28 trillion. And when he told me that, I said, I would like to see the details. In fact, he said, so some things are repeated in the budget, and that the calculation his consultants have come up with was 25 trillion. And therefore, 3.7 trillion was hanging. Distinguished Senator Alero, you missed that meeting, but many of the senators were there in that meeting. He now gave me a diagram trying to give percentages allotted to regions. And in the course of it, I discovered that while the Southeast, at least I'm talking of Southeast now, had about 3.9%. The South-South had 2.2%. The South-South is where the Senate President comes from. So I was surprised. So I called his attention, and I requested to have the full details. And he promised me that he was going to make the full details available. And I told him that when the full details are made available, in fact, Senator Dume was also there, he spoke, that when the full details of his findings, you were there, you even, Senator Dume was not only there, but he also spoke. I said, when the full details are made available, that I definitely will also get a consultant to study it, and I will call us to meet again. As up till now, you have not given me any document, but you were able to attend to the BBC interview. So, what is before us now is that it will be good for our colleagues, because this thing is in the public glare. If you had given me full details, I have not received full details up to this moment. I would have been able to know what you know. But so far, what you know is only known to you. It's not known to any other person. So I don't know how you will rush to the press. Premium Times, all sorts of areas carry different versions. And the Nigerian public, the social media is very fast. From Canada, United States, everywhere, the story was budget padding by Senate. In fact, I can quote a section of the Premium Times that said that this is the highest level of budget padding in Nigeria's history, where the Senate passed a budget of 25 trillion, but what is being operated is 28 trillion. I just want Nigerians to know, because Nigerians are listening to us. I want Nigerians to know that what the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presented to us in a joint sitting, end of November 2023, for consideration, was 27.5 trillion. So at no time did the President present 25 trillion. Now, the presidency has even come to clarify that. And if there is any addition to the budget, it's in the sum of 1.2 trillion. And he has, the remover of the motion has given us the breakdown of where the additions went to. And also, for me, that you are saying you have, you don't know how many aides the Senate President has. You don't know how many aides the Deputy Senate President has that is in the budget. We haven't seen the areas in the budget where the aides of the senators and Senate Presidents are listed out.
Spoke. It was as clear as crystals that there was a misunderstanding of the figures. When he came up with the GOEs and all the agencies on first line charge, there is no difference between the figure he reeled out and the figure purported to be padded. I thought with that, that matter would have been rested by Senator Ningi, saying that this 3-point-something billion, trillion was not part of the budgetary provisions printed out for us. That would have settled this matter. We are going forth and back on these issues and coming up with issues of the budget and individual issues concerning what came to our various constituencies. If we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press? Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes. So I think that Senator Ningi, wahala now, you see the wahala. No. Quite all right. Point of order. Million pro. I still have the floor.
When they give you floor, correct that 500 million.
Take your seat. Senator Cyril, take your seat. Senator.
Whenever the President of the Senate or the Chairman rises, as in this case during a debate, any senator then speaking or offering to speak shall sit down, and the Senate, or if it is in the committee, shall be silent, so that the President of the Senate, or sitting as Chairman, may be heard without any interruption. It means that every senator should drop his hand. It also means that every senator should be seated and no noise.
I'm standing to make my own comments and to say it convincingly as my heart and mind have given me to say. I am a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria like any one of you here. But strongly, I am disappointed not only in the way and manners we present ourselves to national discourse. And there's no better place for me to say it than here. I went to my constituency yesterday. I have seen calls from my colleagues. I've not responded to some. Some I have answered them. What is your view about what is happening? Why are you not commenting? Why will I comment? Is it my colleagues that voted for me to be here? Why will I comment? 2024 budget came on the 31st of November. 30th of November. 30th of November. And we had only 1 month. If I will go by parliamentary standards, we have the right to decide when to pass our budget. But if we have decided to pass a budget On what parameters did we pass our budget? And if those parameters were given, did this respectful chamber sit down, deliberate on those parameters, agree on those parameters, pass those parameters and approve them? Because there's no way you can make a budget without them. So if anybody will come and say this budget is a default, that means we are all at default from the first time when we were passing the MTEF. And when the executive brought their budget as a proposal, the total amount, compared to the total amount they returned after the first MTEF, we still deliberated here and we reviewed that MTEF, we approved it and we passed it. So I'm hearing for the first time, waiting for Senator Ningi to affirm himself, to saying he said we passed 25 trillion naira budget. Since he has said he did not say it and he recanted it, I will reserve the words I have for that. But I will go further to saying that I've been maligned as a senator. The respect I used to have when I go home, I saw it different the last time I went. And I was told that I've been given an allocation of 55 billion in my budget, and that video is even in the TikTok today. So why will I not stand here and say my mind? I'm not a party to any discovery that I have not seen. To me, it's not a discovery. And I don't see any reason why I will disturb myself to posting any comment. I will want my distinguished and respectful colleagues, Mr. President, I'm not one person that do anything on eye service. I don't. If I have anything I will say it before anyone and clear my mind. Distinguished Senator Ningi, Samai Lakau, you are a northern senators. And I'm saying it in the chamber of the Senate. I'm not a second-class northerner. I will be sitting here. Some of the things that are happening within the Northern Senators Forum doesn't get to people like me. This is the person that will give me the information. So what makes me feel somehow the day we came for the meeting in the Senate President's office, in fact, I didn't want to attend that meeting. It was one of your aides that insisted I must be there. If I'm not there, it will mean something. I said, let it mean. I was chairing a subcommittee meeting in the ad hoc of disbursement then, but I was the last person to be there. And why did I go there? Why did I go there? Why did I go there? If there's anything, we agreed at that meeting, nobody will go to the press. I was asked to comment. I reluctantly comment. Let me use the word of Senator Abaribe. In the 9th Assembly, he will always say, I'm reluctantly agreeing to it. I reluctantly agreed to make a comment. And when I made a comment, I said, if anybody said he has seen anything, provide the evidence. And since the evidence will be given to Senate President knows where to take those evidences, and we will know the truth or otherwise of those evidences. But going to the press, we should not go to the press. In the morning, when I saw a message from Samai Lakau I felt we should have acted as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I felt so sad when I saw it. And that message is going round. Look at the content, look at the English. Is it senators? Is that our quality? Is that our standard?
In the process of making a budget, everybody, either at the level of the committee or at the level of the Senate, at plenary, or the House of Plenary, makes contributions. And if we have observations as to whatever is not correctly put in perspective from what majority of the people have advanced, we all know the procedure for addressing such issues. And I think in this instant case, we have not done that. We have not done that. And I don't know what it means to some people, but I know that this Senate is supposed to be a Senate of matured minds. And in the process, therefore, we must surrender our interests to the interests of this very institution and the institution of the country called Nigeria. To do otherwise is certainly irresponsible. And I make bold to say here that Nigeria is not an island on itself. There are other parliamentary institutions in other countries. And so when something untoward like this begins to happen, I think we must reflect very soberly and get ourselves back on the right tracks. And that is the reason why I say here that this budget, I understand that my brother here, Senator Ningi, had made some observations about the budget. Mr. President, I want to inform you that I attended that meeting of Northern Senators with you that day. Due to the respect that I have for you and the respect that I have for the leadership and the institution of Northern Senators. And when we got there, observations were made. And I think the conclusion that we arrived at that time was that these documents on the observations must be presented to the Senate President. And we agreed, even informally, that if there are any anomalies here, they can be corrected by the either corrigendum or amendment to the budget, or that the leadership will take note of the anomalies and correct them in the subsequent budget. If at all. And so, as a member of the Northern Senators Forum, I feel offended that a press conference was addressed, interviews were granted on an issue that is already before the Senate. I think it's inappropriate. And I told the Deputy Senate President that, look, I didn't give anybody any permission to speak on my behalf on that matter anymore. And so we have gotten here. I think it's very simple. That now that the Senate Committee on Appropriation has provided the correct version, this debate ordinarily should end. And not grandstanding. I want to at least address this issue of me not doing the work of opposition, and we're not doing the work of opposition. It's not correct. Mr. President, according to section 27, there shall be a minority leader of the Senate who will be nominated from the minority parties in the Senate. 2, the minority leader shall liaise with the Senate majority leader. B, second motions for the parties on major issues. C, second motions on formal and non-partisan business of the Senate. D, perform such other duties as the President may allocate to him. Mr. President, there is no motion here that I have not seconded. And even today, I have consulted and liaised with the Senate majority leader more than 5 times. So on a very serious note, I think we are doing our work here. Let me say that as a minority leader, I will not just stand and criticize policies of government for the sake of it.
Kano South Senatorial District, NNPP from Kano. Mr. Speaker, I heard, Mr. President, very sorry, I heard what our colleague, Senator Solomon Adiola present in his motion. Quite all right, Mr. President, I was in that meeting in your house, and we all agree that we will not in any way grant an interview or engage anybody on this issue. You promise to look into it. To the extent you ask Chief Whip of the Senate, who happened to be Deputy Chairman of Appropriation, whether he has knowledge on what is going on in the budget, and he responded to you that negatively, that no. Therefore, I quite agree and affirm that position. And from that time up to today, there was no time I granted an interview with anybody. All what happened, sir, is that after we left your house, I had in the morning the interview of Senator Abdul Ningi. I read it, I listened to it attentively. I realized that he granted the interview before our meeting. Even in that case, it is not what we agree in our last meeting, that we are not going to press. In the afternoon, there was a first at so many platforms, which I posted it to our Northern Senators Forum. Northern Senators Forum. There was no place and nobody hacked my account, and I stand to be corrected. Nobody hacked my account, and I am not in agreement with what my brother Solomon presented to this Senate. It is total lie. I am not party of it. If for any reason what I forced to the Senate, our Northern Senators Forum, as a member of that forum, and it is exclusively for our own consumption. Assembly signed by Mr. President Bola Tinubu and the one implemented by presidency. The one approved by us is 25 trillion, while one operating by federal government is 28 trillion. Apparently, we discovered 3 trillion was inserted into the budget without location. This is the highest budget funding happened in Nigerian history under Senator Afabio watch. We resolve as people representative to see Mr. President on this issue. Which fact and figure to ask him, if he is aware with this embarrassment or not. Then from there we will take action. Let Nigeria be patient with us. This is national issue. It affects all Nigerians irrespective of party, tribe, or religion. Senator Abdul Ningi, Chairman, Northern Senators Forum, BBC Hausa, Saturday 9 March 2024.
The federal government is operating two budgets, 25 trillion or 28-point-something trillion, as distinct from what the Senate passed. I just want to ask you a simple question. As a member of the Senate, I don't know whether you are also a member of the Appropriation Committee. Did the Senate pass 25 trillion?
The Senate passed 28 trillion.
Reposted or posted by you on the Northern Senators Forum is that for the first time in Nigeria's history, we have the highest budget padding, and that the Senate passed 25 trillion, while the federal government is operating 28 trillion. You see, in a tense atmosphere like Nigeria, coming from distinguished senators, reposted by distinguished senators, posted by distinguished senators, originated or otherwise, that post even mentions Senator Ningi as chairman of Nigerian Northern Senators Forum. And you, knowing that that post was injurious to the reputation of the National Assembly, you have been a member of the National Assembly in the House of Reps. You've also been a liaison officer. By the grace of God, today you are a senator. Do you think that reposting falsehood to tarnish the image of the National Assembly is the right thing for a distinguished senator to do?
Northern Senators Forum to draw their attention to draw their attention on what is going on. I can't do it.
I don't need to remind us that we are senators. I don't need to also remind us that we are here as brothers and member of the highest body, that's the Senate. We are here having in mind also that we can disagree, but to agree. In fact, it is common in legislation to even go to the extreme, throwing chairs because tempers rise. But when it comes to the totality of the image of the Senate, we should be careful. It is not about Ningi now only. If we are talking about Ningi in this room, but it is about all of us outside. This thing has happened. It has happened. And Ningi was wrong. It was wrong. In the first instance, if you all remember, this thing reared its head before. When, after presentation of the budget, there were allegations from the north that it was skewed in favor of the south. And a figure was even posted on our platform, the Northern Senators Forum, by Wadada, and I spoke to him this morning. The total capital in there was 8.9 or thereabout, but the total of the said skewedness total to 15 trillion. And I told them, from the word go, this thing is wrong. So it died down. When we engaged the senators, the consultant, it was agreed by the Northern Senators, quite okay. And after that, Kau and Ningi approached me and told me that there are certain things in the budget that were not right. I said, bring it. They said, no, they are going to talk to Senate President, and I should be there. I said, no. If you are sure that the North has been so changed, put the figures down and let's go public. But that was not there. Wait. When you are speaking, I did not interfere. It's so simple now. My chairman wanted to go out yesterday. My chairman wanted to go out yesterday. He called me. We are doing a press conference. I said, on what? He said, on this budget. I said, did you get the details that they are talking about? You said, no. I begged you not to talk. That we are coming here today, get ready with your papers, and put it before our colleagues. He did a wonderful job by even tracing where the so-called 3 trillion has gone. What I'm expecting from us, please, is to move forward. And how do we move forward? I told Ningi in here that he made a mistake, that he should stand up and apologize to us first, then apologize that, look, this even figure that I'm looking for 3 trillion is here. I'm sorry for the embarrassment I've called. That is what I'm suggesting. Please, distinguished colleagues, some of us, or majority of us are here new, as we said. Okay. Yeah, it's not new because you are 10 months old or more. All I'm saying, look, if I don't forget that I'm the chief whip, I'll carry whip now. Okay. Why are you not smiling now? I know this is a serious matter, but we have gotten to it. Had it been what Ningi said, it's not even traceable. But it's clear here that the 3 trillion, if you add it up, is there, and you put it by 25, it gives us the figure. So let us go and tell everybody that, look, 3 trillion is not missing.
What has been established here is the fact that
the so-called 3 trillion pardon is a lie. 2, the appropriation made this year, where those items on statutory transfers were not included, is not different from what has been happening for years. That is the standard that will make our budget.
My name is Adams Aliu Oshomole. I represent the great people of Edo North in Edo State. And the only thing that I used to campaign to get to this house is my name, my pedigree, and my integrity. Some may have gotten here because they had resources. I got here because I had made a name. I came here hoping to build on that name, not to diminish it, not to distort it, and not to do anything that would be unexpected of somebody of my background. Number 2, sir, I am a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am not a senator of the North, nor am I a senator of the South. I am a Nigeria senator. These rules we agreed on in the first 2-3 sittings, that we will operate irrespective of accident or birthplace, and even the factor of religion or any of those primordial sentiments. Because that is the only way as senior, as a privileged Nigerians who sit on this Senate, I don't know anyone here who started this work on the floor of this Senate. We all have our various backgrounds, which our people must have seen and found us worthy of being elected. I want to plead that we must recognize we have a duty to uphold the finest standard of a legislature and defend the integrity of each and every one of us. As I listen to your prayers every day, Mr. Senate President, we talk about showing love to one another, doing those things that will promote the peace, happiness, and unity of our great country. And yet, I am here wondering whether we have exactly come here to do everything that will promote hatred, everything that will promote division, everything that will remind me of my accident or bad play for which I had no vote, I had no contribution. That was the exclusive decision of the God Almighty. It should neither be used to favor me, nor should it be used to disfavor me. So I ask, sir, that after listening to everything, my plea is this. We've already been stripped naked in the market. And closing the door or opening the windows, we cannot now wrap it as if it has not been seen. The minimum requirement is for my brother, who I respect very much on account of being vocal. I like vocal people. He has energy. I don't have enough energy. But I have seen him make very valuable contributions in the past on the floor of the Senate. And I think he can still remedy that, having agreed that some things went wrong. Because the question you have put, Mr. President, is how much, what was the figure in the bill, in the appropriation bill that was approved? And somebody answered 28 trillion. Therefore, any suggestion that it was 25 is simply a lie. The problem of trying to defend one lie is that you have to speak to more lies in order to protect and defend one lie. I think will be Senator Ningi, who I respect a lot, has a duty even to his own children, that he will not be the man who will be reported in the front pages of newspapers and electronic media all over the world and say something that he found out is not true. There is nothing wrong in making a mistake, but it becomes a problem when you are not able to find the courage to own up to your mistake. Particularly when in terms of balance of interest, you rather clean up what is dirty than to pretend that it is clean. So I want to plead to each and every one of us that let's allow Ningi, having now read everything, and even my comrade, Senator Kau, who posted something, he said it was for northern governors, even northern senators. Even he knows that northern senators deserve to be told the truth. Northern senators did not form association for the spreading of falsehood. It is meant to promote the unity of the North and justice and fairness, which can only be founded on the basis of facts and truth. So if all of these errors have taken place and all of us have become suspect in the Nigerian bar of public opinion, the way to go, in my view, is for both of them to recount what they have said and to say that they didn't say so, or if they said so, that they made the mistake of the head, not of the heart, and ask that they be forgiven. Because it is already in the market. You can't pretend it never happened.
Very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, CON, representing the people of Ekiti Central Senatorial District. 4 quick issues to raise. Number one, I stand with due respect to say that what my big brother, distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi, who I respect so well, planned to do or set out to do was tantamount to a civilian coup, which has failed. And in doing this, he wanted to use the platform of Northern Senators Forum. God bless all those who have dissociated themselves as members of Northern Senators Forum. Number 2, I pay glowing tribute to His Excellency Senator Tambuwal, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, and to His Excellency Senator Ahmad Lawal. Why am I doing this? They had very peaceful tenure, and I was one of those instrumental. I'm also speaking as a Southerner for the first time. The attempt to take the election of the leadership of this Senate beyond June 13, 2023 must stop. 60-something senators voted for Godswill Akpabio. 40-something senators voted against Godwin Akpabio. The will of the majority. Every day, there have been a few, just a few. And that's one of the reasons I will pay tribute to Senator Tambuwal. He didn't pretend about where he stood. But after that, some of them got up on the floor of this Senate and said, election is over. Let's work together as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A few have refused to do this. And that's why it's always about Akpabio, never about the Senate, never about the House of Reps, never about the Office of DG Budget. All of us pass this budget. Never about Mr. President who signed this budget. It's always about Akpabio. We have a momentum. This is a defining moment for all of us to say, if we are going to have a stable Senate, let us have one. It is not about North and South. It's about our rules. It's about the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's about our people who are hungry and deprived. Mr. President, sitting as chair, make no mistake about it. A few people who feel they will not give you more than 1 year to spend in this chair want to do everything possible before the 13th of June to remove you. And I am telling you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, and that's why I say I'm speaking as Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, not as the Senate leader. As the Senate leader, I've always done everything possible to stabilize this Senate. I'm speaking, I'm exercising my own privilege as a senator. Now I am telling you, sir, I am telling you, sir, and I want Nigerians to know, I say it for history. The last time the people of South that you represent had a chance to be Senate President was over 40 years ago. The last time the entire people of the South had a chance to be Senate President was during Obasanjo regime, when he went to the Southeast. 5 people were elected because they were impeached in quick succession. But as soon as he left the South, we had peace and stability again because we will always cooperate. David Mark spent 8 years. Senator Ahmad Lawal spent 4 years. Peaceful 4 years. Saraki, even with all he did, spent 4 years. He was not impeached. It is about Akpabio. It is about the South. You can now understand why Senator Ningi, we want to use the name of Northern Senators Forum, even when most of them did not agree to this. Mr. President, I plead with you. This is an opportunity for us to follow our rules. If tomorrow the wisdom of the elders of this Senate prevail and they feel we should do otherwise, let's lock ourselves up in a closed-door session and take another decision and go back to the world and reconsider ourselves on whatever decision we take today. I beg all of you, we must do the right thing today. We did not start this fight. Senator Ningi took this to the public domain, standing up to apologize here. Even after he repeated that some people got 100 billion naira from this budget, some people got 60 billion. Haba, what apology are you expecting? Let us do the right thing, and I am saying it as part of the leadership of this Senate. I am not bothered. I was going through online, just as this is going on, it's trending now, that every senator got 500 million. My appeal to Nigerians is not about what was said there today, because I'm not going to deny that. But we have 12 months to implement 2024 budget. Let every Nigerian wait to see whether there is any of these senators who will not bring enough boreholes, enough solar street lights, enough road construction, and other projects, training and empowerment that will be up to 500 million naira. That is it. I am not protesting. If I got anything here, it is not money put in my pocket. They are constituency projects given to my constituency. And I'm not apologetic about it. Mr. President, please let us go into the prayers and do the right thing.
Suspend Senator Abuja Ningi for an initial period of 12 months. 12 months, yes, including his entitlement and privilege as Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria of the 10th Senate, and made him to stay away from the National Assembly for the suspended period. 2, the Senate should send a warning letter to Senator Suleiman Abdulrahman Kao, and this should be warned to stop posting, inciting informations that are not right, and then he should tender apology. He should stop posting all those informations with a way of distorting facts. Mr. Senate President, I so move on these 2 additional prayers.
Prayer is the suspension of Senator Ningi for 3 months, but if he writes an apology to the Senate the following day, he should be recalled. That is my prayer, sir.
I stand to second the amendment as proposed by Senator Medoki, that instead of suspending Senator Ningi to 12 months or 6 months, we should give him 3 months and also allow him to apologize to this Senate and put it in writing as well. And if he does that, and we consider that there is a remorse, this Senate have every right to call him back as soon as we feel them. So I so moved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved that in view of the grievous offense of Senator Ningi, that he be suspended. Those in support of 1 year suspension. Okay. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved by an amendment has been offered by distinguished Senator Maidoki and seconded by distinguished Senator Sani Musa that he be suspended for only 3 months from the Senate. Those in support of the suspension for 3 months say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So distinguished Senator Ningi is hereby suspended for 3 months from all activities connected with the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.